Well, another 4 hours and it should officially be announced. I think there is a great deal of clarity at this stage in terms of the names. There are various lists doing the rounds. Most of these are likely to be inducted. Could be a few surprises as well, but we'll bring you the big names of the likely new ministers, those likely to be promoted as well, and some of the lesser known names who are likely to be elevated to get important berths as well. So Prime Minister Modi's mega cabinet reshuffle, the first in his second term, that's going to be announced soon. My colleagues Himanshu and Arvind Gunasekara will be joining me in a little while with the latest buzz, as it were. The new cabinet, sources in the BJP claim, will be the youngest ever in India's history. The average age will be the lowest ever after the revamp. There'll be more women ministers. In fact, we've got a couple of numbers also coming in. Special representation will be given to those who have administrative responsibility or experience. Most importantly, the changes are likely to factor in polls in 5 states next year and the 2024 national election. Remember, Uttar Pradesh, it's not just enough for the BJP to look at regional representation, but sub-regional representation in a state as large as Uttar Pradesh. There is representation in other states as well, which are going to the polls. There are a few obvious names, some of them earlier, in fact yesterday, were spotted in temples, others buying kurtas. Perhaps they had a bit of an idea, or they'd been told that they're going to be ministers or going to be elevated to the post of at the center. But there are always some surprises which are expected. Who's going to be in the cabinet? We have several lists right now, but just in terms of what we know so far about what the cabinet is, the new council of ministers is going to look like. They're going to be ministers apparently from 25 states or union territories. 7 ministers have PhDs, 3 are MBA, 68 graduates. This is by the time it's all over, post the announcements. Professionals include 13 lawyers, 6 doctors, 7 civil servants. There'll be some engineers, 5 of them. 4 are former chief ministers, so there is experience over there. 18 former ministers in state governments and 39 former MLAs. So the average age of the council, 58 years. 14 are below the age of 50. 11 women ministers. So the addition of women in the new council of ministers very likely. 5 minority ministers will be there, as many as 27 OBC ministers, 8 ST ministers, 12 scheduled caste ministers as well. So that gives you a rough idea. Now, obviously, if all of these leaders are going to be accommodated in the Council of Ministers in some way, shape or form, then there are going to be a few who lose out. And Santosh Gangwar, the HRD minister, Ramesh Pokhriyal, the education minister, and the Women and Child Development Minister Debashri Chaudhary have resigned as ministers ahead of the cabinet reshuffle. Let's go across to Arvind Gunasekara, who joins us now. Arvind, a couple of big names met the Prime Minister earlier today. For example, Sarbananda Sonowal, he met the Prime Minister. Narayan Rane, I believe, was also there, but and Amit Shah, of course, had a meeting as well. But they've all gone back. So it's essentially now a wait for the announcement, right?
Yeah, Vishnu, almost all the probable inductees into the new cabinet, they met the Prime Minister a short while ago. This particular meeting, the high team meeting, was also attended by BJP National President JP Nadda and also BJP Senior Leader and also National General Secretary Organization BL Santosh. Though we don't have a final list of names, but we have got the final list, the number at least. Almost 43 ministers will be sworn in today. This 43 also includes at least 7 current ministers. What we are being told is that at least 7 current ministers will see an elevation, a promotion to the independent rank or the cabinet rank. So out of these 7 names, what we saw coming outside out of Prime Minister residence, that includes MOS Finance Anurag Thakur and also RK Singh, who is the power minister, and also Hardeep Singh Puri, who is currently holding the civil aviation portfolio also, and also Manshukh Mandviya, he was also present there. So almost 7 names we saw who are the current ministers coming out of Prime Minister residence. So all the 7 current ministers will get a promotion, that's confirmed. And also, if you could separate the number 7 from 43, so almost 36 will be new face. That's what we are hearing. So of this 36 new face, that includes Jyotiraditya Scindia, another very senior leader who quit Congress, who joined BJP. He was also the Bhupendra Yadav, again a very senior BJP leader who has been the field man for most of the election, who has been the right hand of Amit Shah, is also likely to be inducted into the cabinet. So several new names. We also saw 4 women MPs, the new faces coming to the Prime Minister office, and what we are being told is that all those 4 women leaders, including Anupriya Patel, Shobha from Karnataka, all this Bharti Pawar from Maharashtra, Dasoben from Gujarat, all these 4 leaders, at least women leaders, will be inducted. Meenakshi Lekhi, all these 5 leaders are likely to be inducted into the cabinet.
But and when will the swearing in take place?
Maharashtra
when will the swearing in likely take place?
Yeah, swearing in ceremony is somewhere around 6 p.m. at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The invitation has been out, and it's as per the protocol. So very strictly, only for the inductees and the immediate family members are alone will be allowed for the swearing in ceremony, and media, Doordarshan will be giving the feed. Coming to a very important point, if you could see the state-wise representation, Maharashtra has got 4 representation, even in the new cabinet also. Right. So a big chunk going to Maharashtra again, Vishnu.
Okay, Himanshu, let's just go through a couple of big names. Firstly, Bhupendra Yadav, the Rajya Sabha MP in charge of Gujarat, also of Bihar. One name likely to be given, be a new minister, Jyotiraditya Scindia, of course, somebody recently who has joined the BJP, bringing across many Congress supporters with him, will certainly be rewarded, it appears. Sarbananda Sonowal, many thought that he might actually be the chief minister, but no, he was kept away from that. Former Assam chief minister, again being rewarded likely. Narayan Rane, the former chief minister, went from the Sena to the Congress, now back to the BJP. Meenakshi Lekhi and Pashupati Kumar Paras, the LJP MP, very much in the middle of this entire split in the LJP, as it were. Tell us a little bit about these big names. Is there any clarity on portfolios as yet, or is there clarity perhaps just on the fact that these big names will be senior ministers?
Yeah, that's right. See, it is important, Vishnu, to understand that this is a reshuffle which is now being planned. The expansion and the reshuffle exercise is now being planned when in last 16 months we have seen the Modi government struggle throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And this has been perhaps the most challenging time in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's own political career. And I think through this large cabinet expansion and reshuffle exercise, he's trying to refurbish the image of his government as well. And all these 4-5 big names that you have mentioned are people who have vastly experienced. Narayan Rane is a former chief minister. Sarbananda Sonowal is a former chief minister. Jyotiraditya Scindia has worked for a long time in the Manmohan Singh government. He knows how central government works. Bhupendra Yadav, of course, a confidant of Amit Shah and the BJP central leadership. Almost all important responsibilities were assigned to him. And these are all people who have the experience in the party, in the government. And Prime Minister, of course, definitely needs these experienced people to actually bring the economy back on rails, revive the falling image of his government. Remember, I just now, a short while ago, I was talking to a Labour Ministry official, Vishnu, and he said that the migrant workers crisis, the unorganized workers crisis were not managed well by the government, and that's why Supreme Court had also severely indicted the centre, saying the centre's delay in not putting up a portal on unorganized and migrant workers is not alive to the concerns of the migrant workers, and it had said the lackadaisical attitude by the Ministry of Labour is unpardonable. Sure. So these were strong indictment by Supreme Court, and of course these new faces, they will be given these important portfolios which are now being vacated by previous ministers. In fact, I just
wanted to get to a few other names, and Arvind, you might want to take these. There are a couple of senior leaders who are likely to be promoted. Anurag Thakur, one of them, presently the Minister of State Finance, Purushottam Rupala, the MOS Agriculture, and G. Kishan Reddy, MOS Home Affairs. So there is a sense that they might be promoted. Anurag Thakur's name, some would suggest, was possibly with Information and Broadcasting. That's unclear at this stage. Anything else that you can share with us on that buzz?
Yeah, Vishnu, like we have been reporting, almost 7 current ministers, MOS rank, will get an elevation. That's what we are hearing. Almost all the 7 current ministers, they also came for the meeting with the Prime Minister. This list includes, like you mentioned, Anurag Thakur, Purushottam Rupala, and also Kiran Rijiju, Hardeep Singh Puri, R.K. Singh, and also Mansukh Mandviya. Almost 7 leaders, 7 current ministers came, and almost all the 7 current ministers, MOS rank, will be given a cabinet post. That's what cabinet rank, that's what we are hearing. Like you mentioned, Anurag Thakur, that's what it's doing ground. Anurag Thakur likely to get I&B ministry, and also Purushottam Rupala, who is the current MOS for agriculture. If you could see that the government has created a new ministry called Ministry of Cooperation. This particular Ministry of Cooperation, earlier it was a department under Ministry of Agriculture and Family Welfare. Ministry of Agriculture and Family Welfare had a department called Department of Cooperation. That has been carved out from Ministry of Agriculture, and that has been made as a separate ministry, as Ministry of Cooperation. So in all likelihood, that's what it's doing around, that Purushottam Rupala likely to be made as a ministry, as a Minister of Cooperation. That's what is doing around. So we have to wait for the official list. Only all this, the portfolio assignment will be done after the swearing-in ceremony. So for that, we have to at least wait for one more day, because the swearing-in ceremony will take place today. Maybe tonight, based on the recommendation from the Prime Minister, President will issue the assignment, will issue the portfolios, or we might wait for a bit longer, maybe till tomorrow. Vishnu?